Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. Of course, I'm Reina Creole, and here to review episode 7 of House of the Dragon. It's kind of a funny story. kind of a funny story. I was actually going to record a review last night, and I was just like, you know what, forget it. Nah, too lazy, too lazy. I'll just do it live. I'll just do it live and hang out with you guys here with me and just have a great time. Now, usually I do these House of the Dragon reviews with Abu Nas, but this little girl had a birthday this week, so he's there on dad duty with her for her birthday. So you got me here, and we're gonna have fun with me doing my very messy review of episode 7 of House of the Dragon. So let's see who we have in the chat hanging out with me. Let's see. I see the Ginger Ninja says hello there. Looking forward to it. Well, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. And Matt G is in the house, like, oh my God. Like, seriously. Good seeing you, Matt G. Always good seeing you, my dear. You crack me up. And we have Teresa in the house. Hello, Miss Martin uses. Oh my gosh. Teresa. I have to get Teresa plots because she actually like read the books. I was kind of lazy about it. I haven't read the books. I have the audio book of a Game of Thrones. I have that, and it's taken me so long to get through it because the writing is so good. I mean, I have to go back and re-listen to parts of it. So eventually, I will get the actual printed book of a Game of Thrones because usually when I get an audiobook, if I love the audiobook so much, I will get the actual physical copy of the book and sometimes completely nerd out and just listen to the audiobook and flip the pages of it too. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I haven't read the book that the House of the Dragon is based on. I think is that Dances with Dragons? You're gonna have to tell this normie which one it is, because I guarantee you at the end of this season, that is one book that I need to sit down and read now that it's so much cooler here now in Florida and get out there on my patio where it's nice and cool and just read books, especially read that book. Thank you, John Ware Jr. Fire and Blood. Okay. That's going on the Amazon list. Then I have to go and see how get that. Good to see you. Good to see you. I see you up there. Says this episode was messy in a good way. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was, you saw it coming. And something that I did not see coming, that I have a minor nit to pick with it only because I'm greedy. Let's see. Dark Shadow 308. Hello, says hail to the Queen of the Dark Council. Oh, well, thank you so much for being here, Dark Shadow 308. I sure do appreciate you being here, my dear. And we have Keck44 in the house who says howdy. Well, howdy, and hello. Hello to you. Always good seeing you. And Aster for Jaden, hello. Says, I've listened to all of the audiobooks of A Song of Ice and Fire and Fire and Blood. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Fire and Blood audiobook. I'm gonna get that and the printed book and chill. Also, the there's this like big, I want to say it's like a coffee table book of A Song of Ice and Fire. I saw it on Amazon. It's on my list of stuff to get. So cool. I have to get that. And Dark Shadow 308 says there is supposed to be a second book coming sometime. Really? That he actually finished, because he hasn't finished Winds of Winter. So I don't know. I really don't count on George R. Martin really finishing anything. I am of the belief that George R. Martin is not going to release the end to any of his books until he's dead. I really think that's what he would do. It's a gangster move, but I swear that's what he's gonna do. That's just me. That's just me. Hey, Darkwing Duck, who says, "Good evening, everybody." Well, good evening. Good evening to you. Good to see you here. One of my favorite 90s cartoon avatars. And Nuanced Observer is here. Hello, channel member along with Keck44 and Matt G says hello there. Well, hello there. Hello to you. And please do say hello to Slither and Hobbit for me as well. And let's see. Mike has bad knees, says, I wouldn't count on that second book coming uh, anytime soon. I agree with you. I agree with you, dude. Let's see. I'm gonna make myself a little bigger here. Let's see. Dark Shadow says, LOL. That's why I said sometime. Okay. Okay. I was gonna say. It seemed like every time George R. Martin would post something on his blog, we're like, "Where's the book? The book done? The book done? I don't want to hear anything else unless the book is, done." John Ware Jr. says George R. Martin isn't releasing the sequel to Fire and Blood until Winds of Winter comes out. Yeah. And I honestly think, like I said, I think he's going to wait until he dies. And then Winds of Winter is going to come out. And then later on, Fire and Blood is gonna come out. That's what I think. As for Jaden says, yes, it's supposed to lead up to Robert's rebellion. Okay. Okay. That he actually finished. Mike has bad knees, says he's collecting so many checks. Why would he not? Why would he not just keep the status quo? And Mike, that's why I'm saying I think the books are not going to be finished. The finished product isn't going to show up till after dude is dead. I mean, it's not like he's a starving writer, you know. Just watch the checks pile up. Like, maybe I'll finish Winds of Winter. Maybe, maybe, maybe. He's making way too much money. There isn't enough external pressure for him to finish Winds of Winter. So that's my bet. Not to wish ill on the man, but honestly, that's probably the best thing. Wait till he dies, and then it'll come out. Okay, thank you, Nuance Observer. I sure do appreciate that. Thank you so very much. 11 of you guys in here, along with this very, very, very impromptu stream. So let's see. House of the Dragon recap. Bastards and Broken Noses. So this is episode 7, which is properly titled Driftmark, and starts out with a funeral. Now, for those of you who have ever been to a funeral for a family that's already jacked up, you know a whole lot is going to go down, literally, with what's going on. Let's see. Dark Shadow 308 says, I wish George R. R. Martin would write more tales of Dunk and Egg, but the rumor is HBO Max is developing that into a series as well. Man, George is just cranking money out. I've never heard of Dunk and Egg, so I'll have to check that out. I'll check that out because I do like his writing. Hey, Dylan says, hey, Lorena, how you doing? How you doing there? And Achilles, I don't know if I should call you Achilles 5 or Achilles V. I instinctively think 5 because of Roman numerals. It says, hey, LRC. Well, hello, hello, hello. Good seeing ya. And Mike has bad knees says, this episode should have been titled Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer, Dynasty, and Dallas. And True Lies, probably. I mean, there's so much drama going on in this family anyway, but this one is what really, 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 really did it. So without further ado, I'm gonna scrub through HBO Max here. Cannot play it. Don't ask me to play it. I'm gonna get yanked down. Don't forget about Maury. Yeah, Maury. Or oh shoot, what's the other guy's show? The other guy's show, Jerry Springer's Bodyguard. Steve Wilkos show. I think it might have been more like the Steve Wilkos show because it was just insane. So you guys remember from episode 6, right? Lena Valerian, well, I guess married name would be Targaryen. I'm still hurting over the fact that she had her dragon, Vagar, who is a gorgeous dragon. Beautiful dragon. That was the first dragon I saw, and I was like, yeah, I want that for my own. But she tells Vagar to kill her. And you can tell in the dragon's face, just like, you want me to do what? You know? And it kills her. So here we have the funeral going on. And I love this beautiful, beautiful casket that they have here. And it just goes in with the theme of Driftmark. And I think it's very interesting when she keeps saying she wants to go back to Driftmark to have, her child, born there and to see her, go out like this. I just thought it was really cool having her in this case right here. And they kind of put her over the edge into the sea, and you see everybody here just just devastated because this is not, and she was, either way she was going to die. It's like she was either going to die in childbirth, but she let the dragon, set her on fire. And from what I remember, what you guys were telling me, the way she went out in the book wasn't as dramatic as the way that she went out in, in the show. Everybody's pimped out here. Just, it's just really sad watching, watching all this. And the uncle's bloviating, of course, with, his, I guess it's like the traditional speech that they give when they bury people in Driftmark. And I was trying to get back to the part here. Where's Damon? Because you have that one, put this way, that one person who just does not act right at the funeral. That was Damon. And I can't really fault him because dude, he did love Lena. He did love her. And when the uncle, I call him Uncle Valerian because I can't really remember his name too well. And he's going on and on and on about our blood must never thin and all of that. And then of course Damon just starts snickering, and it's so inappropriate. But what, I mean, do we really expect anything less, you know, of him? John Ware Jr. says maybe he was laughing at a fun memory. He could have. He could have, but I didn't really fault him for that because everybody processes grief in a different way. And there's always that one person, it seems to be, because when I go to funerals, that one person that just does the complete opposite to upset, to upset decorum. Do they ever say his name? That's a good question. Mike has bad knees. I've only heard him called uncle or brother. So that's a good point. Petty. Yes, Damon is very petty. I actually laughed when he did because Uncle was just so, the way that he was, and he was so stoic about it. David's kind of like, all right, just loosen up. Although he's probably talking about the fact that the kids do not have kids don't have, well, they have Targaryen blood, but they don't have quote unquote Valerian blood. So that's probably what he was laughing at. Of course, they drop her down in there. And then here's where things start to get nuts. Everyone's just kind of dealing with their own feelings. You've got Aegon. Isn't he a little too? I shouldn't say. Maybe he is a little too young to be drinking, but dude just starts off, and he is just getting lit, and that's all he does. All he does is drink, and he just gets sloppy drunk during the whole thing. talks about how his sister, you know, I think he said his sister, either he's going to marry his sister or his brother Eamon is going to marry the sister because they kind of keep it all in the family. Aegon the second, the stone. Aegon just does not freaking care. So he's just drunk off his ass. That's all he does. The sister, well, I'll get the broken finger in a little bit. But the sister, I guess she's some kind of I don't want to call her a mystic, but she's very cerebral. But Aemon thinks she's basically an idiot. He's like, "Dumb idiot. She's a future queen." Hey, Darkwing Duck, thanks for becoming a channel member. I sure do appreciate that, my dear. Thank you. So much good stuff out there for you guys who are channel members. So welcome, welcome. So glad you did that. Support the channel that way. I appreciate it. Aegon is set to marry the sister. Oh, okay. Okay. And this kind of, I liked this scene between Corlys Valerian and his, I'll say, put this in quotes, his grandson, okay, where he's telling him, your brother's going to be king, but you'll be, the Lord of Driftmark. And this poor kid and his brother, they're just like, shouldn't we be, mourning, mourning the Strongs, because I guess he doesn't know it's his dad that, that died. Yeah, actually, no, he doesn't. The other elder boy does. He feels he shouldn't be there. And it's like he's the only person who knows all of this stuff is just jacked up. And he's like, if I'm the Lord of Driftmark, that means everybody's dead. I just thought that was so sad when he said that. He was just like, I'm done. My dad's dead. People call me a bastard. I'm just not down with it. But Steve Toussaint is awesome as Corlys Valerian in this. And of course, there's the brother. Well, wait a minute. No, that's the brother. Hang on. Oh, and Allison. This chick. She is just fed up with everybody. And I love the actress that plays her. She's just done with everybody, done with all the crap that's going on. She's just basically at this funeral just to be there because she's a queen, but she just feels like she should be any place else but here, and makes it known. I think the season 8 Jon Snow line was a petty shot at Dan and Dave. I'm still pissed at Dan and Dave. These writers gave it meaning. Yeah, I noticed they paid a lot more. There's a lot more care given to House of the Dragon than there was for season 8 of Game of Thrones. Now this was interesting. Again, more family drama. How long has Damon been banished? And he was at Pentos, and now he sees his brother. And poor Viserys. I mean, boyfriend is not looking good. I believe Patty Considine says he has leprosy, I believe. So he just looks really broken down. Probably like, you know what? I need to just stop being mad. It's time for you, to come home. 10 years. Yeah, he's like, it's time for you to come home. And Damon's just like, whatever. Whatever. I don't think this breach is really going to be healed anytime soon. And when you start to see what happens later on in the episode, you can see exactly why. Is that the brother? Also, another thing to bring up about this episode was just how dark it was. And I know it's not just me. Because I watched it on my computer and I also watched it on my 4K TV. And all of these scenes were dark. I was trying to squint, like trying to see stuff, and it was horrible. So it's like it's one thing for it to be quote unquote, shaded in darkness, but this is like you freaking had to squint in order to see what it was. Let's see. Nuance Observer said, "Did you see the king called Alicent by his first wife's name when he went to bed in the scene?" And the one earlier, yes, you know what? I didn't. I missed it. I don't know why I missed it. And I had to watch on Twitter and see someone bring it up. And I'm like, man, I can't freaking believe I missed that. I missed that. Darkwing Duck says he needs to go boo boo and he'll just be fine. That's a whose line is that? That's a Fatal J line. Mike has bad knees says, I don't know how a king would be close enough to anyone to get leprosy. I have no idea. I mean, Patty Considine never really explained why. He just said, "Oh yeah, Viserys has leprosy." So I don't know. It was really dark on my PC, but it wasn't as bad on my TV. Yeah, even on my TV, it was like hard to focus. And it took away from my enjoyment of what should have been some really nice picturesque outdoor scenes. Like here you see on my computer, me, this is dark. I've never seen it this dark. On my TV, it's a little bit lighter, but still you're kind of like, what the heck is going on? You can't really see too well. Kitty Bear Stephen Paul says, how much longer before he fully looks like Gollum? Might be next week's episode because boyfriend is getting there. Boyfriend is getting there. That's for sure. Mike has bad news. Says I had to rewatch the sex scene on my TV to make sure I didn't miss anything good. Ah. John Ware Jr. says they shot the beach scene during the day, but for continuity, they filtered it towards nighttime. This episode takes place throughout 24 hours. Okay. Yeah, I could kind of get that, but it's just the picture was just way too dark. It's like I get it, but it's you can do tricks with the lighting and they made a quote unquote creative decision and decided to not do that. But it did take away from some of my enjoyment of the episode. I didn't like it me trying to focus on so dark I can't really see that well. So I don't like that they can say that they took creative license with it and made this artistic decision, but as the consumer, I'm gonna tell you it's too dark and I didn't like that. So you should have learned from what was that episode in season 8 of the Game of Thrones? I think it was the Long Night. That was so dark it was irritating too, and it just made a bad episode last even longer than it should have. Bonzo Kilborn says all autoimmune disease is a result of internal emotional distress, or so I'm told. Kings have a lot of stress. And TV is a visual medium, helps if you can see it. Exactly. Exactly. You're communicating to us. It's like what happened with the movie Tenet, which has some of the crappiest sound editing. That drove me insane. It's like you're communicating. We're supposed to try to get the idea. You need to make that signal as clear as possible. Kitty Bear Stephen Paul says, this is why I downloaded so I'm able to alter the filters myself. There you go. The Long Night. I freaking hated that episode. I really did. It was badly written and horribly lit. And you felt so bad for Rainey's. It's like she lost her child. Corliss is like, the throne should be yours. And she basically tells him, you know what? We need for the throne to pass through Bela because she is Bela and her sister because they're a true Valerian. And Corliss is like, well, what about our son? And she basically says, come on now, we all know those kids are not are not his. Do not have his blood. Come on. She's like, just quit. She has to tell him the reality. It's just like, look, the reality is your son's gay. The reality is he's not having sex with Rhaenyra. Reality is your grandkids are not of your blood whatsoever. So it's time to cut the crap and face reality. Hey, Mark, how you doing? It says, hey, sunshine, just listening at work. I was wondering too, did I miss the part where Otto got reinstated as the hand of the king? I was surprised to see that. Yeah, that just literally happened off screen somewhere. And the only hint that you caught that he was the hand of the king was he was fondling that pin that showed he was the hand of the king, like Gollum was fondling that ring. Yeah. Yeah. Or was it Bilbo? One of the two. They both had their hands on the ring. Either way, it was the precious, and that's exactly how he was touching it. So we never saw him officially get reinstated by King Viserys. You just see him, you know, temped out and looking official and just stroking the pin as the hand of the king. I would have thought that we would actually see him being reinstated. So I don't know if they did that as to cut costs or if they did it just to say, hey, everybody's watched enough of the show, they should be able to figure out what that means. Kitty Bear Stephen Paul says, I haven't seen the episode yet. I am supposed to be asleep. Oh man. Well, you have to see the episode, my dear. Oh, and if I didn't say before, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers everywhere. Spoilers everywhere. Bonzo Kilburn says, what? My son is not gay, and those kids who look nothing like him prove it. It's so sad. It's like everybody knows the truth and they all whisper it, but no one's gonna actually voice what it is. It's like an open secret. Totally open secret. Hey, Steve says, hi there, Lorena, you honey muffin. How are you today? Well, my dear, I am doing great. Talking House of the Dragon in here. So it's good to see you, my dear. Always. Always. Miss Mark Muses has that sun. Yeah, it needs the brightness needs to be more. Case in point, if you ever watch the Tudors, they have nighttime scenes that are shot and they look gorgeous, and you can actually see what the heck is going on. So they should have done that. Steve says the rain is too hot today. Back in 5 minutes. Make that. It'll make me blush on screen. Truth is treason. Yes. Can't say that the kids are bastards. The kids can say that the kids are bastards, but the parents, then the adults cannot freaking say that. They will not let them say that. Let's see. Hello, Roadblock 2424. So glad to see you here. This show has surprisingly been amazing, and this episode was fire. Best episode yet. Yes, aside from how dark it is, you can see right here, a little better on my 50-inch, but it's like, what the heck are those two people? And I can't make out who they are. And of course, Rhaenyra and Damon are talking. She's telling them basically how, she tried to have kids with Laenor, but he's gay. And I don't even want to know how that went since he's not straight. And them just, talking, all that talking, all that talking. And I'm just like, when are y'all gonna start talking in High Valerian? Because if you remember in earlier episodes, they would start talking in High Valerian almost from the time that they would run into each other again. But that didn't happen this time. It took the longest time until Rhaenyra started talking in High Valerian, basically saying, look, you and me, we need to be together. I'm not a girl anymore. And life has been pretty crappy to me. So you need to make this right. Neither was Jay. Hey, Nikki, good to see you. Dark Shadow 308 says, I find the lighting added atmosphere to the episode. It can, but it's like when it's so dark, you can't really tell. It's a visual medium. So I've seen night shots in other movies where you can make out who it is and it is dark, but it's not so dark that you're just like, what am I looking at? I'm trying so hard. Your eyes are doing more work than they should. And I think that's a real disservice to the audience. You have to have this balance between what your creative decision is and consideration for your audience. That's just what I'm saying. Let's see. John Ware Jr. says, I think the English was a way of the writers showing their estrangement. Yes, I agree. Because we were so comfortable in seeing the two of them just boom, they start talking in High Valerian. The first episode of the House of the Dragon, when Rhaenyra meets her uncle in the throne room, the first thing they do is start talking in High Valerian. And they talk as if they're very familiar with each other in High Valerian. So them speaking in English for as long as they did, I agree, John Ware Jr., it shows their estrangement because they were almost like strangers, kind of like running into your ex and you're not talking like you've known each other all your life. It's kind of like strangers again, before you start talking into that special language that the two of you had back in the day. But I love that it was her who initiated talking in High Valerian. And yes, Mike has bad knees. Life has been crappy to her because of her own decisions. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Screwing around, at least she could have picked some dude that looked like her husband. I mean, that she could have did that instead, or better yet, just I can't say just marry someone else because she did say she was going to marry this dude, and in exchange, have her dad kick Otto Hightower to the curb, which he did. Nikki says, "Hey, girl." Brian McCann says, "Hail, Reina." Hello, Brian McCann, another channel member, says, "The House of Dragon Wong is strong." I am seriously enjoying House of the Dragon. I really am. I'm loving it. Loving it. Nikki says it wasn't just that, it wasn't just dark, it was a horrible filter too. I would agree. I did not like looking at this. The dialogue saved it. I will tell you that. The dialogue made me hang in there because I was tired of looking at people and I couldn't make out their face, even though you know who they are. It's a visual medium. We want to see the actors here. We want to see Matt Smith's reactions. We can't see it with this weird filter going on. Y'all need to fire who the heck did this, actually. Just no, don't let them. Nah. Valerian wings are needed to see. Mike has bad news. Says she should have chose a husband when she had the chance. Yeah, she could have ran off with Sir Kristen or married Sir Kristen, but she was like, no, I don't want to be broke. My dad said I'm gonna be queen. I'm going to be queen. But she probably did not have the backbone to say, okay, daddy, this is who I want to marry. I know he's low born and everything, but I'm going to be the queen. So I should be allowed to marry this guy. Right. But nah, nah. I don't think she thought that far. But again, remember, she was very, very young and wasn't really thinking several steps ahead. So, eventually she got stuck with a gay husband and three. We haven't seen the baby, have we? I think we did. No, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. She could have hit up Damon for the They are lucky this show is good, or else it would have ruined the whole episode. You are absolutely right, Nikki. Like I was saying, the dialogue is what saved all of this. All of the scenes that I was squinting to see. I think the best option for this scene would have been to have them in a silhouette. Yeah, I could deal with that. Or even with the shot with their backs to the camera. Yeah, like a silhouette. I would have been able to would agree with that. Especially if you could see like the stars in the beach at night. Would have been perfect. Roadblock 2424 says, I fully agree. It was too dark in certain parts of the episode, but I heard people with OLED TVs were able to see those scenes clear. See, those are premium televisions. And you really, when you're putting stuff out like this, 80% of your audience should be able to see what it is that you're presenting. OLED TVs are a much higher end. Most people don't have one of those. I looked at one in the store. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous television, but this should be able to render clearly in 1080p, which is pretty much the standard. All right. And they didn't. I mean, this scene with Aemon Targaryen, this dude rolling up to Rhaegar, no, sorry, Vagar, who's obviously, mourning the loss of her original writer. Well, not her original writer, well, her latest writer. Obviously, she's mourning the death of her. And it's so dark, you can't see what this beautiful dragon looks like. I didn't even really know it was a dragon until you saw the close up of his eye dilate when Aemon tried to, grab onto the saddle, and I thought it was gonna incinerate him. And I guess Vagar was like, "Oh, well, okay, yeah, you're Targaryen and you're little. Okay, I'll let you go." Finally, snort at you and go back to sleep. And Aemon tries to grab at her again. And that's when you see her open her mouth. And the brightest thing that you could see was like what I call the fire hunt. The fire generator was about to light him up, make him a crispy critter. And he starts saying in High Valerian, which I didn't understand at first, but I knew whatever he told her, that she knew, okay, I gotta submit. So I will say I did like the writing with that. While I didn't understand it completely, the High Valerian that was being spoken, that you could tell that whatever Aemon told Vagar was like, I got to straighten up. All right, I won't incinerate you, but we have to see how you can hang on, which is a shame because the flight scene was gorgeous. Would have been even more gorgeous. But it looked crap. Ugh, it just looked like crap. Should have chose little. Oh, the screw around and find out one. I'm forgetting his name. I keep calling him Little Man. I really should remember what his name is, but Little Man wasn't playing. He was not playing. Let's see. I'm on my laptop right now and I can't see anything. Yeah, see, I'm on my desktop and I can't see anything. And my other monitor that this is on, well, both of my monitors are 1080p full HD, and they're both LEDs. And I've never seen something this dark. It makes no sense whatsoever. And yes, Ross Dog's Broken Spirit, you are absolutely right. She-Hulk stinks. To high heaven. Kitty Bird Stephen Paul says, I think people with big dragons are compensating for something just like with cars. Well, it's interesting that you should say that, especially with regards to Eamon. Because, he was kind of, he got picked on, he was the only one without a dragon. His brother Aegon and his what was it? His half cousin, I would say. His half cousin, they bring out a pig and dress it up as a dragon. And this doofus went down into the bowels of the dragon keep with his crazy ass because he feels bad that he did not get a dragon. And what dragon does he go for? The biggest dragon out there, Vagar. So basically, he committed what I call grand theft dragon because Bela said, Vagar has been stolen. Somebody stole Vagar. And then when Aemon comes back, like, yeah, I'm the man. You notice he went from being like a timid, shy, punk to basically like, I'm just gonna, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? He said, shut up or I'll feed you to my dragon. Mm, that is not the Aemon we used to see. So he thinks he's really, really big and bad now that he's got this dragon. And what did y'all think of this Lord of the Flies scene? Where basically Aemon threatened him. Bela was like, I'll kick your ass. Aemon swinging at all of them. And all the kids just gang up on him. It's something out of the freaking Lord of the Flies. These kids are vicious, absolutely vicious. And then you see Aemon get his eye all stabbed out. He had it coming. He really did. He really did. Because he went from being super, super timid to thinking that he was big and bad just because he now commands Vagar, which I understand, but nah, run your dragon. He stole that darn dragon. And Bela was like, she was supposed to be my dragon. And Aegon's like, screw that. Should have got to her first. He's got a point. He's got a point. But then again, think about it. Bela is probably thinking, I'm going to get my mother's dragon, the thing that she loved and that loved her. And the biggest, hugest, most gorgeous dragon, and it's going to be mine. I'd be pissed too. I would be pissed and want to stomp a mud hole in somebody's ass, which apparently is what she tried to do. It was him getting jumped was cute and funny. Like I said, it gave me Lord of the Flies flashbacks, but all of those kids ready to beat his ass. Have you ever been in a fight with your cousins? It's something else. I'm telling you. You go from kicking each other's ass to okay, all right, not bad. Mike has bad news says this scene seems like foreshadowing. I would have to agree with you. All of them, literally, they just all turned on freaking Eamon. And you notice he was trying to taking them out one by one, and it was only after they all rolled up on him that he started to, down a little bit. Y'all throwing my Florida turtles. Throwing a Florida turtle, a blue shell turtle, the 4-on-1. Yeah, they were not kidding. They were not kidding. Roadblock 242 says 2424 says, see, this is why you don't pick on people for no reason, because you end up creating a bigger bully than the original bully. Yeah, we saw it in Cobra Kai, right? Those of you who've seen Cobra Kai, the kid who got picked on, turns out to be an even worse bully than the original one. He was just a freaking menace. Kenny, he was menace, absolute menace. Slytherin Hobbit wanted me to say hello to you. She's still at work still. Well, hello, Slytherin Hobbit. Yeah, tell her I said hi too. Thank you. I love that name, Slytherin Hobbit. You snooze, you lose. Yes, Kitty Bear, Stephen Paul, that is correct. That's correct. She shouldn't have. Well, again, you have to remember these are kids. Kids believe the promises. Her dad probably told her, no, her grandfather and her grandmother probably told her, Bela, you are going to get your mother's dragon. We can't think of anyone who would have your mother's dragon except you. You should be able to have her. That is going to be your birthright. That is what you're going to have. And they probably told her that. And with the loss of her mother, she's just like, I'm going to have Vagar, the hugest, most gorgeous, beautiful dragon, the biggest dragon in Westeros. And your slimy ass cousin rolls up in there and takes it out from under you. The dragon chooses the rider. Yeah, yeah, Vagar said, okay, Amen. You could hang on while I was flying and diving all over the place. So, yeah, I guess you and me, we right here. Roblox 2424 says the kids fighting in this episode was better choreographed than anything on the Rings of Power, which is pretty sad. You have a point. You have a point. Sad is, and I'm not gonna say sad. I did enjoy that. I did enjoy them kids beating each other up. I really did. Because they were real. Because the adults are trying to pretend, but the kids, they let that animosity out. Hello, Slasher. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. Says, as a book reader, it's funny seeing people speculate who is going to end up killing who because you read the book already. For normie like me, who I haven't read the book yet, it's got to be entertaining. Those of you who read the book, like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. It's like when I watch certain anime and I haven't read the manga, and the manga readers are just like, yeah, you think this is bad. Wait till you find out what happens, later on. Hey, CJ, how you doing? Says, God, I hate YouTube on a smart TV. The YouTube app is really testy on a smart TV. I got to hand it to you. The YouTube app on my Fire TV, it is the crankiest piece of tech like ever. Nuance Observer said the kids are fighting the battles of the adults. Yes. Yes. You notice earlier on in the episode where Rhaenyra tells her, I believe it's her eldest son, go over and comfort your cousins. They just lost their mother. And he's just like, why the frick am I doing that? You should be doing that. She's like, go over there, go over there, go over there. So rather than she going over there to comfort them, because, she and Rhaenys don't get along too well, you send a kid. And he's just like, oh, for the freaking do here. It's like cousins, girl, ew. I want to go over there. Vagar the Gator Dragon. Yeah, I get Gator vibes. I love Vagar. I do. Gorgeous, gorgeous dragon. I love flying Pegasus, flying multicolored Pegasus like the one from She-Ra, and huge, gorgeous green dragons. Nikki, two dragons got claimed this episode if you catch my drift. LOL. Oh, I think I would enjoy slamming my D between a door more than watching Rings of Pride. I will not try either, though. I stopped watching that. I couldn't. I was so bored. I'd rather watch She-Hulk over again. At least I get some laughs in that. Rings of Power. Unless it's the with Rings of Power, unless the dwarves show up. I like the dwarves. The dwarves, the Dwarf King and the Dwarf Queen Disa, I love seeing those two actors together. They're worth watching, but they're not enough long enough for me to even want to pay attention. So I love them, but everybody else just sucks. It's not something I want to watch. Slasher says, I have not been here before, but thank you for the welcome. Very welcome. And exactly, it's just like watching anime and having the manga readers in your ear. That's why I tell people I'm watching Stone Ocean. I'm like, if you've read the manga, do not tell me how it ends. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. CJ, my thumbnail guy, says, to be fair, who sticks to canon these days? It's a real shame because I remember when Star Trek was good, they had a Bible that they had to go by, and everything that you wrote in Star Trek, every episode had to adhere to that quote unquote Bible. And that was the canon that you had to work with. The canon was revered so much that even fan fiction writers, you would get a whole bunch of crap. If your stuff didn't line up with canon, you had to explicitly say, this is not canon. Because if you say that your work is canon and it didn't line up, you would get lit up. But that's when it had standards. And that's, go compare Kurtzman Drek, which I said I was going to refuse to watch, but I think I'm going to get stuck watching season 3 of Picard, unfortunately. Like say Next Gen, or even better, because it's my favorite, Deep Space Nine. See how well Deep Space Nine lines up with the original series and even Next Gen. That story writing was tight. That's because they had to adhere to canon when they wrote those episodes. And I knew a couple writers who wrote for DS9 and would tell me what they would have to do to make sure what they wrote lined up with Star Trek canon. She-Hulks or the Imperfects, which is better? I tried watching the Imperfects, but uh, it just wasn't for me. It seemed to be written well. It just wasn't to my taste, Kitty Bear Stephen Paul. So I tell other people to check it out. I had no issue really with the writing. It just didn't grab me. Some things don't grab everyone, but it's good enough to recommend to other people to watch. I gave it 2 episodes and it just didn't grab me. It was all right. It was all right. Darkwing Duck, Star Trek is dead. DS9 will never be made today. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't, because bad reboot has killed it. And I could be talking for I don't know how long on how much I cannot stand Kurtzman Trek. Roblox 2424 says, I understand where you're coming from. I'm a manga reader of Bleach, and I already know what's going to happen in the new Bleach series coming out on Monday. It's like I don't have time to read everything. So I still have this Yakuza lover manga that I have to read along with Way of the House Husband, because people told me if I like the anime, the manga is even funnier. So I have to watch that. So anyway, this scene here, the kids fought. Eamon has no eye. He's got it like all the maesters have it all stitched up. So it's got like this nasty Frankenstein stitch on it. And they're yelling about who's at fault for what. And of course, Rhaenyra's like, my sons were attacked. Alicent wants blood because her son is missing an eye. People trying to figure out what the heck is going on, why the kids are screaming. I mean, Viserys is like, I just wish all y'all would just shut up and get along. I'm dying. I got one foot in the grave and another in the banana peel, and you people need to just shut up and stop arguing and answer me what happens. And Alicent wants freaking blood. She wants blood. I mean, of course, Viserys is going to side with his daughter and demand that Aemond say what happened. And of course, Alicent takes that crap personal because Viserys, he'll stand up more for his grandchildren than he will his own children. So obviously, she's going to take that freaking personal. Absolutely personal. So personal that after it's quote unquote settled, well, not settled, Alicent basically was going to tell Sir Kristen, who's still butthurt, to go and take out the eye of Rhaenyra's son. I mean, who gonna freaking do that? And when he didn't do it, and again, they thought it was all settled, Alicent got that knife and was ready to stab that kid in the eye. That's some gangster-ish right there. Totally gangster. Totally gangster. And Rhaenyra gets up in her head and it's just like, now people see you for who you are. And Alicent freaking lost it. She lost it. She totally freaking lost it. And that's what Rhaenyra wanted to do to her. So mind games going on. Proto Cersei. Yeah. Yeah, that was some Cersei-ish right there. And the kids deserve it. Nuanced Observer says hashtag Team Alicent. You know what? I still hate that chick. It's I love both of them going at each other. I really do. I really do. I'm always going to be Team Targaryen. I don't really want to pick a side on this one because both of them are just freaking irredeemable, and I love it. I freaking love it. Love it. Love it. Dwayne Olson said, "Did your friends in the DS9 writers' room know how much of the broad plot strokes were lifted from the B5 series Bible? I have heard that discussed. Certain folks will not confirm or deny, but it's obvious. Yeah, it's obvious." He is actually known as Aemon One Eye. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I know this much. At least Aemon got his eye taken out by let's see, would that be his nephew instead of by a cat? Like what happened with Nick Fury? Mm. Jerry Springer Game of Thrones edition. Oh, that is totally what this is like. Thank you for subscribing, Rico Dan. I sure do appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Thank you for the subscription. Yeah, one of the things that not Game of Thrones, excuse me, House of the Dragon is very good at is ratcheting up the personal drama. That's why I keep making these comparisons to soap operas, especially evening soap operas, because one of the biggest draws of soap operas is how they can ratchet up this tension in between the characters. I mean, this has all been coming, and eventually, this is a war that rips this whole house apart because of all these personal grievances that are going on. Yeah, I already had a funeral. People all up in the feelings. Now the kids are fighting. One kid's lost an eye. The other kid's stoned or drunk or whatever. Her kids are pissed off that people call them bastards. And he basically said, Mom, he called me a bastard. And Viserys had to say, all right, whoever calls them a bastard, basically that's your ass. So Nick Fury pretty much said to never trust a cat if you connect what he said in Winter Soldier with what happened to his eye in Captain Marvel. Hey, Lance Corporal Waffles, I actually watched that backwards, actually. Unfortunately, I saw Captain Marvel and then I went back and saw the Winter Soldier. Long story. Long story. It's a soap opera with dragons and swords. Yeah, and a good one because you actually care about what happened. Aegon isn't even sober enough to tell you what happened. He's just like, I just want alcohol and chicks. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want. Roblox 2424 says this was a great scene with Rhaenyra and Alicent are pretty messed up, but I like that they're gray area characters, which makes them multidimensional and complex. Yes, I like that I can't choose between the two of them. I like that they both do screwed up stuff. I like that Alicent has basically pulled her wig off and is just fed up with everybody. And you saw it happening very, very slowly from episode to episode to episode to episode. How long was it going to be before she finally broke in? This was it. You hurt my child. I need blood. I need payment in blood for this. The stone. It was like I guess the showrunner had said with this show, yeah, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. They'll cut your eye out, kid. From A Christmas Story. And Liquid Sword 29 says, is everyone hating on Aegon? I guess Rhaenyra was the same. Why is everyone hating on was everyone hating on Aegon? Rhaenyra was the same when she was younger. You know, it's like I don't really hate on Aegon. I find Aegon reminds me of like Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He doesn't care about being king. He just trying to party. He is all about a party. So I kind of laugh at Aegon, you know, especially teasing his brother that he was never going to get a dragon, but they had a dragon for him. They had a pig dressed up like a dragon just for him. Just for him. He can choose which eye to keep, a privilege he did not grant my son. I thought that writing was just dead on. She was not having it at all. I tell you, the dialogue in this was just amazing. And of course, she feels bad. She feels bad that she's lost her temper. And her father comes in, and I believe this is the first scene between her and her father. Like you saw her father basically go slap Aegon around, basically said, you know, sober up and stop drinking all over the place. But this is the first time you see them together after he was unceremoniously kicked out of the court. And she's just like, yeah, I know I screwed up. I screwed up. I shouldn't have done that. And her father's basically like, I'm so proud of you. You've become exactly what I wanted you to become. And you just see just the pride on his face, basically saying, my dear, you finally have become what I've wanted what I've wanted you to. And now I was kind of doubting you had the stomach for this, but look, you know exactly what you're doing. Exactly what you're doing. And I'm so frippin' proud of you. And that was the gist of it. So now that her father's back, the one person she knows is truly in her corner, along with Broken Finger is only out for himself, but she knows her father definitely has her back, or at least that's what she believes. John Ware Jr. says the actor who plays Aegon II is David Tennant's son. Really interesting. I didn't know that. Mike has bad knees. Oh, you forgot the coldest line in the episode by Eamon. Okay, let me see if I got this right. He was just basically said, it's okay, mother. I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. I was like, damn, because he didn't just gain a dragon, he gained the dragon. And that's what makes all the difference. And if you notice, what people were looking at, just like, shoot, that kid is right. That kid is right. The biggest dragon in Westeros is under Aemon's command. So watch it, you get fried. E. Clay Thomason, hello, my dear, and thanks for being a channel member. Says, I wish the names were more distinct. I can't remember who is who. I think that was on purpose with the names. I've noticed that with the names. It's kind of like with certain families have names that they'll get some kind of how would you put this? They'll use certain names so you can tell they're from a certain family, like let's say like in my family line, like with the Spaniards that were over here, you had Maria, Maria Luisa, Maria Catalina, Maria Beatrice, five Marias in the house, and all have different middle names or whatever. I think it's maybe like a royal title of name that they do, and I noticed that iteration. It's very hard. I didn't know Rainies from Renera for the longest time. Liquid Sword 29. Hello. I don't think I've seen you in my chat before, so welcome. It says, where is duty? Where is sacrifice? Team Green all the way. Well, all right now. I'm always gonna be Team Targaryen, but I tell you, I'm impressed with the high towers. I really am impressed. Absolutely. Just watched a movie called The King. It's about Henry V. It was interesting. Wow, Henry V. I'm not too familiar with. Not as familiar as I am with Henry VIII because I guess he's the most infamous. And Slasher says, not gonna lie, I think Aegon had it coming to him, but I don't understand how Lucerys just walks away unpunished. Maybe not to the extent of losing an eye, but he definitely deserves some punishment. I think because with Viserys, he's blind when it comes to his daughter. And by extension, he's blind when it comes to his grandson. Viserys seems to just want to have people. Can't we all get along? That's pretty much it. But yeah, he did deserve some kind of punishment for that. Although, in part, he was defending his cousins, and that's kind of like the part they didn't see, that Aemon was the aggressor in that. And they didn't see that part, but something's probably gonna happen to him eventually. At least that's what I believe. John Ware Jr. says Vagar came to Westeros with Balerion. Yeah, Balerion was the big, big, big dragon, right? Hey, Max Relax says hello, folks. Well, hello, Max Relax. Glad that you are here. Glad that you are here. John Ware Jr. says, I only care for Helena and Aemond among the Greens. I like how twisted Aemond is. I really do. You can see it coming with dude. Liquid Sword 29 says Rhaenyra would be a terrible queen. She makes terrible decisions and flaunts her privilege because she knows she can get away with it. I do agree with that. I think back to granted I love Daenerys Targaryen. She's my favorite character in Game of Thrones, but she makes some crappy decisions, and you could see the progression of her madness where she would do stuff knowing that she was untouchable. Dark Shadows 308 says Viserys isn't blind. He's treating her like a Targaryen. They do as they will. Interesting. Interesting. So when I say blind, I say willfully blind. Like that's my daughter, that's my grandson. I know they do screwed up stuff. What you want me to do about it? So that's like what I mean when I say blindness. He sees it going on. So when I say willfully blind, it's like he ignores it. He knows it's there. It's kind of like the elephant in the room. It's there. He just doesn't talk about it. Mhm. Exactly. Hey, Slasher, exactly. I don't expect him to just watch while they beat on their family members, especially little girls. Yeah, I noticed that with Bayla, no one brought up the fact that, you know, he went after Bayla and her sister. I didn't like that they didn't bring that part up, but something tells me perhaps that will come out eventually later on. Brian McCann says Balerion is 3 times larger than Vagar. Wow, I would love to see that CGI. That's real. I love how the dragons are rendered in this because in Game of Thrones with Daenerys's 3 dragons, they were okay. I mean, they were rendered as good as they could be. But with House of the Dragon, each individual dragon seems to have certain characteristics and they seem more like living beings than CGI, puppets, so to speak. Matt Smith keeps bringing a smile to my face, and that's very much due to my memories of him as the doctor. See, I never knew who Matt Smith was. And then when people told me who he was and that he was the doctor in Doctor Who, now I want to go back and watch Doctor Who with Matt Smith in it because I'm that impressed with his acting. Well, they went after him first. Show covers various species of dragons as well. Okay. Okay. I can't wait to see that. 5-year-old girl going after a 10-year-old boy because she's going to do so much damage. It's just like, that wasn't going to happen. But the way that he came after his cousins like that, no, no, that is absolutely messed up. Oh, you mean about Doctor Who? Yeah, I have to watch Doctor Who, but I didn't know which doctor like to watch. So seeing Matt Smith, now I have a personal investment. It's like I have to see this guy. Liquid Sword 29. No, he is willfully blind. He feels a lot of guilt for the death of Rhaenyra's mother, so excuses all her faults, even as she displays it for all to see. Exactly. Exactly. And I love this scene between the husband who finally shows up, for lack of a better term, where he's like, I should have been, a better father to our boys, you know. But it's kind of hard for him to be a father to, 2 boys that aren't his at all. Rainier kind of flounce it around that they're not his. And you're right, absolutely. Simp, especially the biological, like you're okay with that? Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. And yes, they do. They do. I do like how these 2 actors interact with each other. It's very believable when he feels bad that he couldn't be the husband that she really needed. She's just kind of like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm not the gender that you're attracted to. What was so bad about me wanting to have a child with you? That so that exchange was very real and very heartfelt. Hey, Keely Chow. So you can tell definitely they're just like, we tried to make this work to both of our benefit. They don't have any animosity towards each other. It's just the reality of what we said we were going to do. You do your thing, I do my thing. Well, you doing your thing uh hasn't worked so well, and me doing my thing has got everybody's tongues wagging for real. E. Clay Thomason said it seems like a lot of their problems could have been easier if they had popped out a few legitimate kids before they started fooling around. Yeah, I thought about that too. I thought about that too. But she said she tried. I mean, she's not the kind of dish that he likes, so Apparently, he just couldn't get with the program. But yeah, I agree. If he would have just had one or two with her, folks really wouldn't have had anything to say because he would have had legitimate kids. But didn't quite work out like that. Max Relax is the first doctors of the new Doctor Who are great. You could start at season one, though David Tennant and Matt Smith's seasons two till I think eight or so are the most popular. I'd heard about David Tennant. David Tennant's Doctor Who was recommended to me. So now I got two. That one and Matt Smith. I have so much stuff to watch. I have so much stuff to watch. Mike has bad knees says, I have a hard time believing they couldn't get a couple of fluffers and get the kid. I don't know. Maybe the problem is with him. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he just couldn't get the job done. Who knows? Liquid Sword 29, they just needed one legitimate kid. Yeah, they just needed one. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe she thought she could just get one and figured, oh, I'll just have one with him one day. I can just go out and fool around. Eventually, I can pass it off as my husband. Nah. Nah. Max Relax. Yes, it is quality storytelling. Yes, I have heard great things about Doctor Who with David Tennant and with Matt Smith. This time the bot showed when I was on the phone. I must be getting up in the views since the bots are, coming to visit. Dwayne Olson said they should have used a baster for the legitimate kids. I'm surprised the maesters didn't weigh in and say we tried what we could try to do. That would have been interesting. But I guess they didn't think about that. Bring bring Lanor some tea from the maesters. So this might help you rise to this might help you rise to the occasion. Yeah. Slasher says, I'm just trying to see my bot, I guess my boy, Kristen Cole in action. I'm surprised because they left a part out in the book where he fights Harwin Strong in a tournament. And dang, did it sound exciting when I read it. I would have loved to have seen that actually. I would love to have seen that. You know what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Harwin Strong the one remember the melee that broke out at the wedding because Kristen Cole got all in his feelings and that's when he bashed the face in of Lenor's boyfriend. Remember that? Wasn't Harwin Strong the one that picked up Rhaenyra, put her over his shoulder and got her out of there? That might have a lot to do with why she had two of his kids. Should the maesters not have magic in the presence of dragons? I'm guessing that's a quote. Sir Harwin carried Rhaenyra to safety. Okay, that's what I thought. It makes okay. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. Why she hit that? Okay, perfect sense. Man, tell you the writers of this must have paid attention to a lot of soap operas. So here, of course, you have the grieving parents. You know, there's Allison. I'm just freaking tired of you people. And you have Rhaenyra and Damon basically talking about, you know, they're Targaryens. The Valerians are of the sea. But you and I, we're a fire. And we were destined to burn together. I said, hot damn, I love that line. And that's when they talk. It's like you and I need to be together. And Damon's just like, we can't. unless Leonor is dead. And I'm glad he brought that up because the first thing I said was, Leonor's still around, right? You're going to have to bump him off, right? And Damon says it's like, he's going to have to die. We're going to have to kill him. And basically, like, yeah, I understand that. And they have the discussion where you're basically going to be hated. And she's like, I don't want to rule as a tyrant. And Damon sets her straight. It's just like, look, as your queen, the people will love you, but they also need to fear you. And he's speaking from experience. Speaking from experience. Harwin is the one who also saw her with Damon in the city that night. Oh, Dark Shadow 308. I did not know that. I got to go back and watch that. I missed that. I must have blinked and missed that part. Hey, Jeffrey Nelson says, good afternoon, Miss Creole. Good afternoon to you too. Darkwing Duck says, yeah, straight, young, and the restless. Oh, yeah. Especially when we talk about what this is delving into. All the while they're talking about, we got to get rid of them. And Damon puts the plan into action. Then you got Broken Finger. John Ware Jr. got me saying that. Broken Finger basically letting Alicent know, I am forever your true and loyal subject. True and loyal subjects. Slasher says, I just subscribed. You have a very enjoyable show. Well, thank you. Thank you so very much, Slasher, for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Between me up here and my folks in the chat, we always have a great time. So I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Glad you're enjoying the show. And yeah, so I'm trying to figure out. I want Broken Finger to cause some more carnage. Because he is just too much. He's just too much waiting in the wings. And Damon, of course, finds the perfect guy, basically saying, you have basically saying that he has a Neiman Marcus taste on a Walmart budget. And then puts the bug in his ear that there are places across the narrow sea where it doesn't matter what a man's name is, but how much gold he has. And you can see the gear, just the way that Damon says it. It's just like you want to do this. I got your attention right here. Take this money. We need someone to die. And we need witnesses. Hello, Frank Citrus says Laris looks like a rat. He kind of does. He does. He's so creepy. Thank you for being here. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. So many new people in here. Love it. Love it. Damon wearing his murder outfit, yet when he killed his wife. Absolutely. Damon is the J.R. Ewing of Westeros. You got that right, Black 2424. He is not playing. He is so not playing. Slasher says, Laris or Otto, I can't tell which one is the rattier of the two. See, I can't wait to find this out in the show because they both just freaking irredeemable. And here's where it all kicks off because you hear Rhaenyra and Damon talking in the background about what's going to happen. And Damon basically telling her, you're going to be hated, but this needs to be done. This completely needs to be done. And Laena's like, what the heck are you doing in my father's hall? And he's just like, always talk down to me. And they start fighting. And then you hear Rhaenyra says, if we do this, Rhaenys and Corlys are going to lose their only remaining child. And you're just like, that's right. Their only remaining child in the space of what, 1 day or 2 days? So they get the scrap going on. And after it's over, Where do they find? Where is it? I'm trying to see if I can get this really, really good crispy critter. Because basically, what happened is you see this dead, crispy body that they pull out of the fire. Ah, dang it. I had it right the first time. It was a pretty cool effect, though. Crap. Okay. I can't get it back. Okay. Maybe I can. A little fuzzy, but pull this body out after the guards put it in the fire. Okay. Burn beyond recognition. And all you hear is just Rainey's scream. Oh my God. It was heartbreaking. When she sees her only son, her eldest son, her firstborn, and the only child that she had left. Yeah, barbecue snake, dead, corpse is still smoking. And they pull it out of the fire. And Corliss is like, "Where the heck were you? Don't know where the guards at." And he's dead. He's gone. Gone. Lost her daughter. They've lost a daughter. They've lost a son, all in less than 24 hours. And the grief. Oh my God. The grief on the mother's face. And then I believe Rhaenyra says, they're going to be wondering just what more we're capable of. E. Clay Thomason. Yeah. So I'm actually going to get to that in a little bit. So they talk about what happened. Then, of course, they get married in from what I was told, is in the way of old Valeria, which apparently involves a lot of like bloodletting, putting blood on your face, and it looks to be like a very ancient ritual. And this wedding is much different from the one that she had with Leonor after that wedding melee in that episode. That one seemed to be very short to get it over with. This one, they kind of dragged out the pageantry of it, which I believe has some kind of meaning. And then we see the scene at the end that blew my freaking. Bruh is still alive. Now, when they first started talking, and you see the scene in the hall at Driftmark, you saw Damon collar this poor dude and break his neck, right? We didn't really pay attention to that because he thought maybe it was one of the guards that he just killed to get out of the way. We didn't pay that much attention to it. I did not freaking see that coming. I really didn't. I thought he just killed somebody to get him, to get him out of the way and cover it up so that when you saw this crispy burning body that they pulled out of the fire, I thought that was Leonor. And I was completely jacked up. I'm just like, they actually freaking went and did that? Not that I'm surprised because Damon did kill his wife, but the fact that dude went and killed Corliss and Rainey's son, I was just like, I knew he was petty, but damn. But then when you see this scene where he's just like rowing with his boy, we out of here, we gonna live happily ever after, peace. Now I'm like, okay, Damon actually set this guy free. I do something for you, you do something for me. So Lanor, although far as his family's concerned, he is dead and gone, but he's free to be himself. And right now he's going off across the narrow sea. Exactly. He's headed off towards the narrow sea to go do whatever it is that he wants to do. And that's pretty much it. And I was just like, I had to hand it to Damon because I really thought he was going to kill dude. I thought he had killed him and that was the end. But the fact that he gave him an out also makes him an ally as well across the narrow sea. So, whoo, yeah, and F the innocent Carter got burned to a crisp. Yeah, so we don't even know who that is. We don't even know who that is. Let's see. John Moore Jr. says if you go back and watch the pleasure house scene in episode 4, then the Valerian wedding, the way Damon and Rhaenyra touch one another is identical. Okay. I did not know that. You think he would at least leave a letter for his mother? No, they wanted him to be like gone. It's like, I'll put it this way, it's my favorite soap opera of all time, Young and the Restless. Okay. They thought that Victor Newman was dead, burned up in a fire. I think dude had faked his own death. Dead and gone. Then he shows up months later. Like, hello, here I am. Yeah, in order for the con to completely sink in and for everyone to buy into it, there needed to be nothing whatsoever. Now, I think eventually he may find some way to communicate with her, but for him to not know, for her to not know it was from him. But I think, nah, they just had to cut that off completely. He has nothing to gain by coming back to Driftmark and everything to gain if he stays across the narrow sea and shows up when Damon needs him. I was blown away by the end. I did not see that coming. I did not expect to see him. I'm just amazed how much I am just enjoying watching this show, watching every episode, not feeling like I'm being insulted or pandered to. You just sit back and enjoy it, and it's just escapism, you know. Leonor left his dragon sea smoke behind too. Oh man, I forgot about sea smoke. Max Relax says he has a dragon. Others will try to claim it, but the rider is still alive. So I wonder if Sea Smoke eventually finds him. If it's in the book, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Okay, folks. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This was very impromptu. I tend to do live streams better than I do videos. It doesn't take me as long, but wanted to review this with you guys and get your input. And as usual, you guys in the chat did not disappoint. Special thanks to those of you who are checking out my stream for the first time. So thank you so very much. I do various live streams. So if you're subscribed to my channel, or even if you're not subscribed to my channel, please go to my page and you can see exactly what I have going on and what I have coming up. So next week, for sure, it's actually going to be back on my back on my channel. So next Monday at 7:30 p.m. I'll be reviewing episode 8 of House of the Dragon along with Abu Nas. He will be back. So we'll review both of we'll be reviewing episode 8. So thank you so much, Roadblock 2424. This is a great live stream today. Thank you so very much. Max Relaxes, thank you, Lorena. Always a pleasure seeing you and this crew. Well, thank you, Max Relax. I sure do appreciate that. Appreciate the heck out of that. And Dark Shadow 308 says, great stream, Queen. See you tomorrow on the Dark Council. Yes, you will be able to see me tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on the Dark Council show on Drunk 3PO's Basement channel. Also, if you are a fan of anime, in about an hour and a half, going to be doing a show reviewing season 1 of. So if you're into anime, please do come back to my channel in an hour and a half. Thank you guys so very much for being here. I appreciate it. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.